Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Business Spotlight. Scott McMeans here from Action Coach SBL, and I'm welcomed by Jack Morris of Turf Rehab. He's got a pretty interesting business, a lot of big goals he wants to meet as well. But before we get into all that, I want to give the microphone and the camera to Jack so we can introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his story and a little bit about Turf Rehab. So, Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be on. So I'm always excited to join these things and just get my name out there. So
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose of this, right? We're trying to get people that are local to the northern Ohio business community, give people a chance to tell their story. Tell us what makes you unique. What is it about you and your business that people want to be attracted to? And then I really want to get into the different things you've learned being a business owner, the highs, the lows, trials and tribulations, the challenges that you faced. Because eventually what I want is everyone out there in the community to realize I'm not alone. There's somebody out there that's been through what I'm going through right now, and that's how they solve that problem. I can learn from them. And through that, we're going to build this amazing community. So I'm interested to hear your story. How did you come about being this guy at Turf Rehab? And what do you want to do with the business? So tell us a little bit about where you started, where you are right now, and where you expect to go in the next so many years.
absolutely. So yeah, it's a lot to unfold. But if we just go back to like 2019 is kind of where everything started. I was freshly out of the military. I served 4 years in the Air Force and then got out of active duty and then moved back home. And I started working at a car dealership and I was selling cars. And so I started in November of 2018. And over the winter, I absolutely hated it. Selling cars was just not for me. So come springtime, it was super nice out one day. One of the guys that I worked with at the car dealership had a landscaping business just that he did on the weekends. And he took me along for one of his projects. And I was like, I could do this. We can make some money doing this. And so I kind of became like I'm an obsessive person overall. So I kind of became obsessed with the whole thing. And I ended up picking up lawns with a business partner at the time. And we ended up getting like 30 lawns within like 2 weeks. And so I ended up quitting the car dealership and doing that full time. And the mowing the lawns turned into just people asking for pressure washing, people asking for us to do mulching, and it turned into a whole thing. I mean, at one point, I think we were cleaning out someone's attic and just wasn't even anything to do with like landscaping, but we were doing whatever we could do to get just money. That first year, we ended up doing like $30,000, and I was like, man, we can make a lot of money doing this. And looking
Mm.
back now, I was like, that was nothing. So we barely did anything. But as the years went on, my wife was going to law school in Toledo, Ohio, and that next year of like 2020, I believe. And so I was like, I'm not going to be doing anything over the winter. I should start taking some classes. And so I ended up taking a 2 year degree at Owens Community College and got my degree in turf grass science. And yeah, so off of that, the year 2021, my business partner from 2019, that 3 years that we were in together, he ended up wanting to do something else. He just wasn't into the whole landscaping and kind of growing the direction that I wanted to take it. So easiest way to do that was split it 50-50. And so I sold everything off and then I reinvested everything and bought my new truck and all that good stuff and started Turf Rehab officially. And I think it was 2021. And it's kind of been history since. And so,
Love this story, dude. I love this
yeah,
story because what I'm picking up from you is I don't know exactly how I'm going to make money. I just know I can make money. And I'm going to go
correct.
out there and find my vehicle that is going to make money. And you thought, ironically, vehicles were going to be the way you're going to make money, and you hated it. And there's plenty of reasons why you would hate it, get it. But then you take this interesting twist, you try something out. Oh my God, I can make money doing this. The fact that you have this mindset of, I don't care what I'm doing, I know I can make money. Let's go find something I can make money at. And now you went and got a degree. You've attached your desire to make money with your degree, and now you have this pretty cool business that, if I remember correctly, as we talked before, isn't necessarily going to be grounded just in your hometown. You've got visions for this business that are well beyond the geographical lines that are on a map. So tell us a little bit about what you want Turf Rehab to be.
Yeah, so I genuinely believe that I could do 100 locations someday, whether that's just in the nearby states or the entirety of the United States and maybe even Canada. But that's kind of been the goal ever since I was a little kid. I always told my mom, I was like, I'm gonna be a millionaire someday. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. And so I think I just always had that drive in me to achieve big things. I always chase hard goals, and just put myself through the ringer. I like there's times where I'm not doing too much, and then I'm sure my wife could speak for me that I just start to go crazy, and you can tell my mood changes and the person who I am. So I'm always just trying to tackle just things that don't seem realistic.
Okay. Here's something that is a great lesson for the business owner out there or the entrepreneur trying to start out. You think other people believe your dreams are too big, or do you think your dreams are too big?
It can be a little bit of both. And like
Yeah.
there's a saying that I always go by is like as soon everyone else can doubt you, that's okay. But as soon as you start doubting yourself, that's when it matters.
100%.
Because because then if you start doubting yourself, then that you get that downward spiral of like, uh-oh, and then you start to attract things that go against what you really think is like what you can actually achieve.
Well, here's the thing. Um, there's a saying that Brad Sugars has: if your dreams are not big enough to scare you, you're not dreaming big enough, right?
100%.
So, regardless what anybody else is trying to inject into your world, it's your mindset, your fixation on what it is you want to do that makes all the difference. And what I've discovered for being a business coach for some time now, it's all about the mindset and commitment to what you've set down as your pathway and just go get it done. Yes, you're going to have impediments. Yes, there's going to be challenges. But what I want people to realize is your dream has been established because that's something you believe you can do. To hell with anybody else and what they want to tell you you can't do. It's what your vision is. I'm going to go get this done. Go get it done, right? And setting your
100%.
dreams as big as they are, this is a really good concept, right? If you want to make $1 million, why would you set your goal at a million? Set your goal at 1.7 million. And if you fall short of your goal, you're well over your original thought of a million. Set your goals high enough that you can actually go and stretch and do something that you never thought was possible. And when you achieve it, you look back, you're like, holy crap, look how far I've come from just nothing. Now I'm over $1 million. Never even thought I
Yeah.
could do it. So that's a really good advice, a piece of advice for the entrepreneur. Think bigger. Regardless of how big you think you are right now, think bigger. How can we get to be massive in what we do? And it all comes down to, granted, the mindset of what you provide or the mindset in your business, but it's the value that which you provide that makes the difference. How good are you at customer service? How good are you in actually doing the product or service that you provide? And how good are you interaction? What do you make people feel like when they do business with you? And I can only imagine Turf Rehab and the amount of business activity you do, the amount of customers that you have. Not everyone's going to be happy, but when you make people happy in your world, why would they ever leave you? Because you take care of them and you give them something they want. It's all about
100%.
customer service at that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can go off of that too. Is like, uh, there is always going to be less, maybe let's call it 5% of the customers. There's going to be that many people that are just upset no matter who it is, what they do, what the job is done. They're just going to be, maybe the timing of the earth or whatever is just not aligned with whatever. And sometimes, it just is what it is. And like those customers can drain you. And
Mhm.
it did it to me last year. There was one specific scenario where it was just like I was definitely in the wrong, they were definitely in the wrong. And so we were just going back and forth and couldn't figure out a solution. But I ended up just saying, okay, this is my business. I need to take responsibility for this. And that's it. And so we did what we could to try and make things right. And I don't think at the end of the day they went exactly where we planned it to, but we did end up coming up to a solution. And you know, it's hard to look at like that one person. It is hard to look at like, does everyone think that of us, or is it
Yeah,
like, are we providing actual good service? But then like over the last couple of months or last couple of weeks, I've just been reaching out to all old customers to get them on our schedule again for this year. And it's like 95% of people that we did last year are coming back on. They're like, thank you so much for reaching out to us. Can't wait to see you again in the spring. And so,
perfect.
yeah,
See, you are now describing the entrepreneurial roller coaster, right?
yeah,
Everything's falling down. The sky is upon me. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And you take one step forward, one step closer to what you know is your realized dream, and you make some phone calls and you realize, well, hell, 95% of people love us and what we do. Why am I worrying about people that are going to bring me down? Don't get me wrong. I don't want the message to be forget the people people that are upset with you. You have to take care of your customers. But when you're accountable to your own business and responsible for its outcomes and what you do to your clientele, they respect that. Whether that person is never going to come back to you, at least they respect the idea that you owned up to it and said, listen, yeah, we'll take care of this or we'll do our best to fix it. Regardless of all that, the positive side is you got a lot of return customers, which is a huge thing, especially in your business. So when we talk about challenges, what are some of the biggest challenges you have at Turf Rehab going from whether it's season to season, year to year? What are some of the biggest challenges that you guys face and how do you overcome those?
yeah, it was a great question. One of the biggest challenges that we've had is hiring the right people, and not just hiring the right people. I think it comes down to actually leading a team and being true leaders and taking on that role and responsibility. And last year we had ended up with 4 employees at one point, and none of them are coming back this year. And I think it was due to kind of maybe leading the team and whatnot. But we've taken a lot of different steps to put the right things in place for us to achieve what we're doing. And so that's one of the biggest things is like getting over that hurdle and just making sure the systems are in place. That way, we can lead the team. And if we can lead a team, that means they're going to take care of our customers. And if they can take care of our customers at the end of the day, I think it's just going to be like a cohesive environment for everyone.
Absolutely. The biggest challenge I think most businesses have is that people connection, right? People connection with your employees, people connection with your clientele, and how do you make those all work? The idea that you had 4 people that worked with you last year that are not coming back this year, but you already feel strong enough that the team you've assembled for this year is going to get you to where you need to be. Probably one of the smartest decisions you can make by not having those 4 people come back because whatever happened last year didn't do what you wanted it to. So I commend you on
Yeah.
making that decision because I'm sure it's not easy to say, all right, you 4, I don't think I want you to come back. Now you got to go find 4 more people. What
Yeah.
was it in particular, Jack, that you wanted to see out of each one of the individuals? Not that they all share the same thing, but I'm assuming there's a common thread that goes through each one of those 4 people that you brought on. And what would you say that is?
Yeah, so I should give a little backstory because I shouldn't say they're not all just not coming back because they don't want to work with us, but only one of the 4 actually quit. One of them is our office manager. She is still here, so technically it's 3 other people. Um, so the one is like my brother-in-law. Love him to death. He does a really good job when he's working with us, but he likes to come to work when he wants to come to work. So that just doesn't align with Turf Rehab and our goals moving forward. So that's going to be like a scenario where we're just not looking for that type of person. We want someone who's going to be there 40 hours a week, and we know they're going to show up on time. And then the other person who did end up quitting, it was a miscommunication thing towards the end of the season. We told them that we're going to be middle of July, things start to slow down a lot, just in the industry as a whole. Everyone's done getting their mulch done, and we're waiting for that transition period to the temperatures to drop, and then you can start doing the aerating, overseeding, and all the good stuff
Mhm.
landscapers do in the fall time. And so we're just like, hey, we're going to cut hours a little bit. And he thought that we are wrapping up for the season. I have no idea where he got any of that information from, but he ended up quitting. And I was like, okay, that's what is what it is. And then the other employee was just he got out of high school and was going to college, and I think he might come back this year, or he is doing an internship of some sort. But
Sure.
Essentially going back to what you're asking though, is like the right person that we're looking for is like, I want them to buy into our vision and what I believe is possible, because whoever's going to come on board early on, and truly buy into what I think is
Mhm.
possible, what my business partner, Adam Rod, thinks is possible, and our amazing office manager, Anita, like if they can see what we see, there's no reason that they can't grow with the company and get a really good position in the future. And
Well, first off, I
that's
want to say I appreciate you explaining the transition from last year's crew to this year's crew, because I think that's important that you got that out. So thank you for that. More importantly, I wanted to talk about what you just said. You want people on board that are aligned to your vision. That is the most key, pivotal thing that an employee and an owner of a business can have in common, is they both see exactly where you're trying to go. And you even said it as a follow-up. They can be with the company for however long they want to be and find a position that is perfect for them because they understand what you're trying to do. That's a perfect way to build a business, right? Establish your vision for what you want moving forward. And you've already kind of said, I see us having 11, or it's going to be 100 locations across all these different geographic locations. There's something to be said there, because now as a new employee, I know exactly where I'm going. If I do a good enough job and I can convince Jack that I'm a really good employee, maybe he'll give me one of those territories. Maybe I'll get a chance to be in that bigger pie or business that's growing. That's a great way to establish what your company is all about. So I commend you on that.
Yeah, I love that. And that's like, I think complete opposite of what we did last year. It was like, I was fully in the thick of things, and I should have let my business partner be in charge of everything. But we just weren't saying whose role was what. And we have very clear, defined execution for this year. So they will not be seeing me too much in the field as far as like the landscaping side of things, the operation side of things. I'll be doing completely different other things. Um, I think this is going to be like our year. If you like, when people ask like what year was it or what was that one thing, I think like this is truly going to be it this year, 2025. So
And that's because you believe, and I get you, defined executable roles, right? You're going to do something, your business partner and the other employees all have defined roles that are aligned to a vision. And instead of spending so much time in the weeds, you as an owner are spending time on the business, not trying to run it from the inside. Huge step for a business owner, right? I mean,
correct.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'm going to ask the question. When you transition from being the guy that's doing everything, working in the business constantly, how are you making the transition over to the guy that's working on the business? How's that been like for you?
It's a scary jump. Like it
Mm.
genuinely is. It's a whole different, like there's, when I look at it, like being a business owner, every role is almost like a different business in itself. And so like,
Interesting perspective. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like my new role is I'm going to be doing a little bit in the field. I'll be doing the fertilizing, but it will be a lot. It'll probably be like 20% that I'm in the field. And then I'm doing sales, so I'm just learning new sales strategies. I'm cold calling people. I'm walking into businesses and introducing myself. I'm
Mhm.
reaching out to old customers, making sure that we're staying on the same page with them. And then I'm doing the marketing side of things, and then also finance side of things. So I'm just really tight, like teaching myself different KPIs that we need to start to keep track of. Because as we grow the fertilization side of things, we really need to keep track of how much did it cost to get this customer? Where
Yeah.
did we get them from? And then what's the lifetime value of this customer? What can we expect? Like how much is the bottom line on what we're going to end up spending on them versus how much we'll make off of them? And so that's been pretty much my whole winter so far, is just really focusing on that. And then it's going to be the same thing, just consistently executing 2 to 4 hours a day of cold calling, going into businesses and making sure I'm selling, selling, selling. Like that's just the huge thing that we got to do. People need to know who we are.
Exactly. And that's really what we're trying to do here, right? We're going to give you a different marketing outreach message that people can pay attention to, which is good. But I love the idea that you have this clear and I love the consistent execution. You know exactly what you're going to do when you're wake up in the morning. This is my job today. I'm going to go get this done because the business is relying on me to do these things. And the best part about it is, while you're doing that, you've got a team of people that are doing all the other actions necessary to run your business. So it's not you and your partner, Adam, trying to figure everything out on your own. It's you being a contributor to the business that other people are contributing to. Granted, you and
100%.
right, you have a different perspective on things, but you're all contributing to the same thing because you're aligned and you know your roles.
A
Perfect.
100%. And that it's literally night and day what has happened from the end of last year to this new like season, this new season that we're going into. It's like a whole different transition. He's working on these certain things, I'm working on these certain things, and we're coming together and having these meetings, and then it's like, oh, this is gonna be great. And a lot of it is, of course, easier said than done. And middle of April, it's gonna be hectic, but it'll be it'll be a
Okay.
lot more organized than it's ever been.
Okay, I was just going to say, hectic to organize is literally light years from each other, right? The
Yep.
chaos of everything to now you're organized. April's going to come fast and hard. And when it does, and you're prepared for it, you'll be able to manage this storm because you know exactly what to expect. You've been through it last year, and now you have this organized structure that says, don't worry about it. I got this. You take care of that. We're going to keep moving forward. Your business is going to strive or going to thrive off of that, which is an amazing part. I wish people learned this stuff before they got into the doldrums of been doing this for 5, 15 years and I don't understand why my business is so chaotic. They've
Yep.
got to learn from the get-go, organize and systemize in such a way that it's repeatable. You can leverage one action to the next. You can actually stack responsibilities so you're not duplicating all the time. There's plenty of ways to the skin a cat, and there's plenty of ways to complicate your business. Sounds like you're on a path to not complicate it anymore, but be more streamlined in your approaches, which is huge.
Yeah, simplicity is key, like to life. I think keeping everything simple is the way that I'm trying to live by, and just not overcomplicate it because I overthink everything. And a lot of the things that went wrong last year was because of I overthought things and I overruled what everyone else was saying. I was like, I had just like a moment with myself on a drive home from Cleveland to my house, and I was like, I left I think a meeting, OLA meeting, Ohio Landscape Association meeting. They were talking about this, and I think I'm the reason. I am micromanaging everything, and I've spent a lot of time overthinking when we could have been spending time like whether it's like a 2 hour like me just overthinking and trying to problem solve it when we go circle back to the original idea of what the execution should have been, things like that. So
Isn't that crazy? Right?
totally.
It's once you recognize that you are the largest impediment to your own success and you change that mindset. Oh my God, it's that simple. Really? That's all I have to do is these three things? Yeah, that's all you have to do is those three things.
Yep.
But here's the thing, Jack, do those three things incredibly well. Be
Hmm.
exceptional at doing those three things. So now you can put it behind you, learn it, you're good at it, move on, take on the next three things. That's how you go from nothing to a multi-million dollar business is growing incrementally. And the smallest of incremental growth is still growth. Keep pushing forward. That's all you can ask for. That's huge. It's a huge piece.
Yeah.
All right. So talk to me about some of the challenges or lessons that you'd like to share with the audience, because I think one of the things that really draws people here is they get a chance to learn, okay, that's how Jack solved that problem. I want to learn what's a problem that you may have learned and taken care of without too much complication to make it simple, right? So what is something that you would say is one of your biggest lessons or challenges?
Yeah, again, it would go back to simplicity. We were overcomplicating things, and I was trying to get jobs that were out of not necessarily our expertise, but we couldn't execute it 100% like we should have. And so if we would have spent more time focusing on the things that we know, like landscaping, lawn installs, fertilizing, instead of we ended up building a 420-foot retaining wall. Those are we've done small retaining walls before, but something at that scale, we should have been there for 2 to 3 weeks. I ended up being there for over a month. And
Mm,
so we lost our ass on it, but it was a huge learning lesson. And so that was the last project that we did in 2024. And Adam and I looked at each other and we're like, we're never doing this again. Let's go back to the basics. We know how to make a profit when it comes to doing a lawn installation. We know how to make a profit when it comes to mulch. And if we want to do hardscaping, then we really need to switch our focus and what our business is, but that doesn't fall into the scope and vision of Turf Rehab 3 to 5 years from now. So we just need to take that out of the equation and focus back on what we know. Just bring it back to the basics, keeping it simple.
Okay, so different lesson than keeping it simple. I'm going to expand upon this. Keep it simple, I get it, but knowing your expertise and knowing the scope that you're really good at versus trying to put stuff on top that's going to derail you from your ultimate vision. So if I'm understanding you right, your vision is not to be a hardscape construction landscaping crew. Your vision is to be a turf rehab company that helps people with proper lawn maintenance, fertilization, and the appearance of a beautiful yard. It's not, I'm going to build you a great land or hardscape. Am I correct?
100%.
Okay. So what you've just explained is we know what we are, we know what we're not, and we're going forward with what we know we are. And that's how you're going to solidify not only your presence, reputation, brand, but you're going to really set a solid foundation for your profitability because you know that business exceptionally well and keep doing it. Later on down the road, if you want to branch out and do something new, yes. But right now, this is your bread and butter. You know you're good at this.
100%.
Let's not muddy the water any further. Let's make this work.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I just want to use it as a vehicle to have passive income and just grow something very beautiful. And my passion truly is in the hardscape stuff. That's what I love doing, but I don't want to do it for the purpose of having a business because I just know what I'm capable of as far as turf rehab. So
Okay. I like the way you worded this. Okay. You know that this business is something that you want to use for passive income, which means ultimately you are not going to be running this business the way you currently are. When you grow and scale it, it's going to be a completely different business from an internal operational perspective, not from the outside. Everyone's going to look at Turf Rehab as the business I go to for my beautiful lawn and my landscaping. Perfect. But from the inside is you and Adam are completely different participants in the business now. You've taken steps back. You're allowing your business to run because it's been simplified. It's got its running orders. You know exactly what every cog does in that machine, and you
yeah,
let it work, right? You
yeah,
let it work. Again, I think one of the bigger challenges a lot of business owners have is they love doing it so much that they can't stop being the technician. They've got to pull themselves out and be the owner. And that's probably the biggest lesson is it's great to be really, really good at what you do. It's even better to have a great business where other people do what you're good at.
100%.
Nice. And I like that. Any thoughts on the expansion, how fast that's going to happen for you, what your pathway is? You don't have to give away a trade secret, right? But I'm
Yeah,
curious, what are you thinking about? You want 100 locations. You have one right now. There's 99 more to go. How many years
yeah.
and what's the pace you believe you're gonna travel at?
Yeah, so I'm hoping for 3 to 5 year or so 1 to 3 years, our transition from completely doing the mulch installs and lawn installations. I want to phase that out completely in the next 3 years. And by year three, I want to be that R1 location where we're at now, Sandusky, Ohio. That's fully 100% fertilization. That's all we do. That's turf rehab. And then that 3 to 5 years, I want to expand to Cleveland and Toledo and cover those. Maybe just get 2 locations in 5 years, and then from there we should. I shouldn't say we should. I don't know, but I hopefully we'll have really good systems in place. We have a name. We have a brand. We people know who we are, and we can expand upon that. And 10 years from now, I would say who knows? I mean, the
Perfect.
opportunities. Yes.
Perfect. And now you got to do is work your way backwards, right? You know, start at the 90, 100 and work your way backwards. This is great, Jack. I appreciate all the insight here. Really good stuff. And I think what's nice about this is it's so common conversation, right? It's not book smarts. It's not MBA stuff. It's this is how you run a business.
Yep.
Simplify it, give people designated roles and responsibilities, and just get after it. I appreciate your time. One last question for you. If you were to draw or fly back in a time machine and sit down on a park bench next to an 18-year-old Jack Morris,
I love this.
what would you say to Jack Morris?
Uh, don't wait around, join a trade, and then do what I'm doing now, but just do it at like I think the trade that I would go into is carpentry, and then scale the business from that.
Perfect. I love the answer. Love the answer. And before we leave, I want to say one thank you for your service. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that as a
Appreciate
military
that.
veteran. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I appreciate you spending time with us on the Business Spotlight. We'll see everybody on the next episode.